All right, it's time for another worked example with Dr. Schleith. And this time we've got a tennis ball of mass 55 grams, and it's traveling horizontally with the speed of 30 meters per second. The ball makes contact with a wall before rebounding in a horizontal direction with a speed of 20 meters per second. The ball is in contact with the wall for a time of 5 by 10 to the negative 3 seconds. What is the average force exerted on the wall by the ball? All right, so since we want force, we're going to say it's the rate of change of momentum, and we're given the time for our denominator right there. So it's really about calculating the final momentum minus the initial momentum. So the final momentum is going to be mass times the final velocity. The initial momentum will be mass times the initial velocity. So I will plug in 0.055 kilograms for mass. The final velocity, let's call that negative 20 minus 0.055 times positive 30. All right, so we have a negative momentum here plus another negative momentum, right? So one of these velocities has to be negative relative to the other one because it rebounds. So that's important to keep track of. Point 0.055 times 20 is 1.1. 0.055 times 30 is 1.65. Now, the way I've set up the calculation, these are, this is negative, and that's just to say that the force is exerted, in the opposite direction that the ball is initially traveling. That's how it changes its direction. So there's 2.75 units of momentum, kilogram meters per second. That's the change in momentum, divided by 0.005. That's the time, to give us 550 newtons of average force. So choice D is correct. So this part right here gives us the numerator, the mass times final velocity minus mass times initial velocity. And then those are the individual sort of momenta, final and initial. And then the last step, like we said, is to divide by this time right here. So this is the time that gets substituted in right there. All right, we'll see you next time for an elastic collision that occurs between two bodies, X and Y.